Hello my friends, I now invite you to enjoy this classic Dr. Groovy lesson. Howdy there y'all, Scott Grove here of GroovyMusicLessons.com, here to show you some more country bass guitar walks. Not so much different than some of the basic walks I've taught you before, other than different ways to actually finger them, to use them, to show off. Basically that. There is show business. So there is business in music and there is show in music. So doing the exact same lick but two different ways, three different ways, and each of them having the exact same impact, or bringing out possibilities of other runs to be able to follow your walking patterns, strictly depend on where on the neck you're doing it. If you're doing a regular walk like in G, like this, you are very stationary. You're right where you're supposed to be, and if you're going to be locked in and you're concerned with nothing more than holding the groove, that's the best way to do it, which is doing in G your root, your third, not the third fret, but the third, the root, third, fifth, sixth, root, sixth, fifth, third, root. And if you need to know that, if you hear anything rattling at some of these lap steels on the wall, I'll actually go ahead and move them in a different location, which I could have done earlier, but I didn't, so that they won't make as much noise. Okay, 2 lap steels moved. Okay, let's get a little more volume on the business. Okay, so that's just sticking right there. If you need to know it like tab notation, you're on your low E string 3, go to your A string, which is going to be 2 and 5, then your D string 2 and 5, and then backward. Okay, now I'll get you down here to show you the whole bass. Of course I used the most country bass I could find. That's right, the 1980 Gene Simmons autographed Kramer bass. So yes, the original Kiss bass from way back when. Okay, so again, that is just the very stagnant but the most rock solid place you can play a walk. Do whatever you want on this end, whatever's comfortable for you. If it's like walking like the Yellow Pages, you know, whatever works for you, that's groovy. If you have to use your thumb, if you have to use a pick, it makes no difference. Whatever your bag is, that's groovy. Doubling up. Okay, so that is just the most basic and most functional way to do it. The other way you've seen it done is the exact same thing, but going. Okay, again, this here's going to be, I'll do the tab type of way. Low string, 3rd fret, then you're going to slide it from the 5th up to the 7th. Then on your A string going 5, 7. Then on your D string going to 7. Then backwards. I'm sorry, that is a 5. So 3, 5, 7, 5, 7 on the A, then 5 on the D, then backwards. Okay, now that is cool if you want to do the same thing, but look cooler, okay? It's just a showy thing, but then again it serves a different purpose too. You get the slide in there, Now what else this serves that the other ones really don't lend themselves for, your little rock solid one here. They sound the same. Okay, no slide at all, they sound exactly the same because they are. Okay, but what you can do, number one, is just simply know that as you're playing this and you're doing a G, C, G, D, C, back to G, is it looks cool. So if looking cool, the show of your business, is important to you, then remember not to sit there and look like a bump on a log. You can go ahead and this looks cool. I'm just going to go from the D, C. So you're going all over the place. So you're doing the exact same thing, but it looks cooler. Okay, so there is the show in your business. The other thing is not to be like Anthony Weiner and show your business to all the wrong people. So keep that in mind. Don't do that. So no cod piece like Gene Simmons wore. You don't want to be doing that. He's the only one that can get away with this. Okay, the other thing that's cool are just the fact that when you do this elongated showy lick, okay, when you do that, you have still a place to go for more notes going up, as long as you start it on the low E string. So you're in G. Now if you want to keep going, you have a place to go, okay? But if you're on the A string starting out, okay, because here's just a different thing to think of, and you're going, you don't have anywhere to go now. You can do that, going up to the second and the third, meaning actually, if you're in C, you're on the 5th fret, now you can go to 7 to 9, and the same thing on the D. Okay, so you got that option. Okay, but you still have nowhere else to go. But on that G, you had a lot more room to go because you started on the low E string. Okay, so you have a lot more options. So, what would you do to regain those options is to actually start everything on the low E string. Okay? So in the key of G, you have the option of really going all over the place and adding extra show by not doing the D stuff here and the C stuff here and the G here. So the G will be stuck here. But when you go to C, actually start it up here at the 8th fret on the low E string. D, C, G. Okay, so you're building as much off of that low E string as you can. So you're in G, C, G, D, C, G. So you're just going all over the place, and it makes people think you're doing 10 times the work of what you are. You actually are, because you're not just standing there in one place going. You can always substitute other notes, of course, and not have to go up to your root again. Okay, so remember that if you leave these extra notes available by utilizing your low E string. So you're in D now, where before you were here, with nowhere else to go except for, as far as an immediate reach. If you're doing it off of the E string, now you have, okay, a whole lick there. So you can go from 12, 14 to 16, then 14, 16. Then you can go all the way up to 17, all the way up to your D. Okay, so you're, okay, all the way up. Okay, so you got a huge area to move in. And that's always a cool one too. Let's take it down here. I've showed this before on one, but for anybody who has missed these things or does not go back to my old videos, say you're in D. When you reach the high octave, a great little lick to come down is using tab notation here on the G string. You're going to be going 10, 9, 7. Okay, all pull-offs. Or slide down, which I like to do. Same thing, 10, 9, 7 on the D string. And then, 8, 7, 5 on your D. So you have some vibrato is cool. Instead of doing it's kind of cool to do just a bend right there. Okay, so and also break things up. Don't continue to do what I do, just like I did there. I'm just making it up. Play half of it. And then go to your C. Okay? So just make up stuff as you go. It still has to fit within the parameters and, you know, the counts. All I did there was started on G, way up here, because we have it. And then just did that lick. And when you do that, you're set up for your D, C, then the G. Okay, so just a little something helpful to get you out of the old rut of the typical walking bass line. Again, like I had mentioned before, with your typical, you can go ahead and add in like the 7 or the flatted 7. You're not looking at the major 7, so you're looking at the 4th fret here on the D string while you're in G. I'm sorry, 3rd fret. Instead of going all the way up to the 5th fret, just go to the 3rd. So my faux pas earlier. Okay, so pick and choose other notes. Same as if you were to do this. That's the same as the so all these start to tie together. So if you're going, what is that actually? That is actually part of the thing I just showed you. Okay, so if you're doing it this way, that's actually going open, is same as. So you would actually be going like this. Then, or. Okay, again, floppy things around here are just things rattling because we're playing bass. Okay, don't be afraid to hit your harmonics, especially in G. Okay, 5th fret, your G string and your D string. It's very popular these days to do so. Grab them with the back end of your, well, it depends on how bright you want these actually. I like them to be nice and bright. That's just the way I am. I like the funk tone, even if I'm playing country or any kind of music. So, okay, so I'm using the back of my fingernails, raking across the D string and the G string while pressing none. That's right, you don't press for a harmonic. Put your finger directly above the 5th fret, above the D and G string. Give them both a with the back of your fingernail, just like a pick attack. Or you can just use your flesh for a lot more subtle, not in your face thing, but okay. Just a cool thing that a lot of people do, and they like to bend the necks with them. I don't know why, but it's what everybody's doing. Go above the nut here, push it downward, bend them either way. People just like to do it, so we're going to do it. Okay, so again, back with your regular walk. Okay, so that just gives you a slightly different bit of flavor instead of going all the way up a full octave up to the... It gets predictable, so just change it up now and then. And then, like I said, double up. And then slide into it instead of both notes being the same note. Okay. Okay, just slide up into some notes. If you're going to do it, okay. Okay, do some just slide into things, check them out. You can do taps, okay? If you want to get funky and grab those extra notes, do a tap and a slide. Go all the way up to your high G. Okay, so I'm just tapping onto the 7th fret. 9, back to 7, and let off to back to 5. Again, show business. So the can be nothing but a whole. Okay, so you add all these little things into something that looks good. Practice in front of a mirror. Okay, so it's just taking your typical walks, adding new things to them. Or just all cool looking stuff that is very easy, and it's what you already know. It's just taking the same old walking pattern and making it so you can go everywhere. Again, utilize your upper frets to look like you're doing a lot more, because that can bring you way up into the stratosphere for just a minute and make a certain point of the song very special. And you do it once in the song. Don't keep doing it, because then it gets really old. It's just like doing the one trick you know and doing it all night long. Don't do that. Just break it out every now and then and go way up there. Generally, a bass player is meant to be there to hold, the foundation down. And most of you are not going to be Jocko or Wooten or anybody. You're going to be there to go. So not a whole lot of you are going to be, able to solo all night long. So to get one or two high notes in throughout the night, might be the highlight of your night. So really make them count. So it might have to be done on the D, and the only way to get up there is either to start way up here. But of course that sounds horrible. Get some low notes. So work that neck. Again, last thought of the day is whenever it gets boring, if it's boring to you, it's really boring to the audience. So if you're sitting there doing this, God love you, and God love you for doing your job. But if you get bored, think about it, man. Those guys are twice as bored watching you. Bass players are some of the most boring people to watch if they allow themselves to be. But remember, you've got more freedom. You don't have a whole bunch of pedals, usually, like, everybody else does. Drummers can't really go anywhere. Guitar players are stuck to a zillion pedals. They can't go anywhere. You're the one that can do all the moving, other than a lead singer if he's not playing. So you might as well be... stuff. And one last thing before I go here, as far as this whole bending string thing goes, it's very cool if you can manage to do what are called pre-bends. This is, yes, guitar player territory, but it's 100% valid for musicians. Bass players are not substandard people. They are very necessary and have to be probably more necessary than anything. The drums and the bass have to be dead on nails. Everything else is just flavor, sprinkled on top, little candy coatings. But like, say you're in C, okay, the cool thing is you have a fretted bass here, probably, and if you are on a fretted bass, you're always wanting a fretless bass. If you're on fretless bass, you always want a fretted bass. Of course, there are basses made where you can just simply flick a lever and the frets recess into your bass neck. Yes, they're out there. I actually came up with that idea over 30 years ago, and some other people have made them since. I made some phone calls and got them made, and other people have done so also. But chances are you're not going to have one of those basses around. So to kind of get a fretless type of sound, which is cool, it's just, it's a trick. It's not a trick, it's it's a legitimate thing, but it's cool to the ear, and people don't know what they're hearing that's different, but they know it's different, is if you're in C, or any key, of course, okay, is to actually, which is actually, you can actually take your C note, grab two fingers, preferably your two middle ones, okay, I only got one finger in the way, okay, especially at the end of a tune. Another one is, okay, where you actually go into the A on your low E string and bending it up a step and a half. That's actually pre-bending it though, so you don't hit it first. So you would actually be doing the C note first. Then okay, you get the idea? Okay, so you actually do get 3 frets or a step and a half of fretless sound, and you can bend right back up to it if you need to, if it's the end of a song. You got that one there. back into it. Bend back into it. It takes a while to get good at that, but it's there. Okay, so bends are not out of the question. Of course, never. You can always do the half-step bends real easy with one finger. Same lick we did before. Just do it with a bend, half-step. Okay, so once again, Scott Grove, GroovyMusicLessons.com, just trying to find a cure for the infamously old, tired walking bass line. So just a couple extra notes to throw in, and just a couple extra things to throw in for those of you beginners or intermediate people who just simply haven't thought of such a thing. I generally don't teach stuff to the pros because they already know what to do. So if you have forgot about these little things, it's just remember to put them back into the show instead of you just standing there like a lump, like most bass players do with your bass around your knees for no reason. You know, if you're gonna put your bass around your knees, you know, you better put some attitude behind it. You know, if you got the cojones to stand there and try to reach way down there and bust your back just to look cool, you might as well look cool while you're playing too. So, you know, put some movement on the fretboard. So, few ideas, okay? So, once again, Scott Grove, GroovyMusicLessons.com. Go there for some more free bass lessons, guitar lessons, every kind of lesson. Just a bunch of chat and stuff about your instruments, how to keep them properly maintained and cleaned and so forth. And give me a shout here on the channel or YouTube or whatever, any old time. So, hope to see you on the website, and hope to see you at a gig near me sometime, okay? Better yet, you go make it famous and send me tickets, and I'll be on the front row, okay? Send to, I got a wife. All right, take care. Bye-bye.